It's Perp back with another video, and Dune 2's box office numbers are in for its opening weekend. We have the domestic numbers, and we also have the worldwide numbers as well. This movie has been making waves. If you've been on social media, that's all you could hear is Dune Part 2, just overwhelmingly positive feedback and just reviews all across the board. High ratings on IMDb, high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes, just a lot of nines and tens. But now that it's out into the public, you do have some people, that aren't the hugest fans of the movies, but that crowd is not as loud as the people that have been praising this movie. And it's well deserved, because I saw this movie 3 times. I saw it once in IMAX. I had to pay real money for that fan event, and then got to see it opening day, on Thursday in Dolby. And then last night I saw it again for a third time in Dolby, and I do plan on watching it a fourth time in IMAX at some point this week. But this film has started a lot of discussion. A lot of people have come around to really enjoying Dune as a movie, enjoying part 1, because a lot of people kind of missed that train when it first initially came out, and my question is, can Dune Part 2 hit $1 billion? Not only hit $1 billion, but also win Best Picture. Now, there's only been 2 movies that have been able to do that. That is Return of the King and Titanic. But we'll save that for now. Let's just talk about it hitting $1 billion and its possibilities, because it's tracking right behind Oppenheimer. They said that it made like $1 million or so less than Oppenheimer opening weekend domestically. And we saw what Oppenheimer did in the box office last year. That went on to making $950 million, somewhere around that number, which is insane for a rated R movie that's just dialogue heavy. There's like one action scene that you're really waiting for, but it's all dialogue. So that's telling right there that the box office and just people's tastes are changing. There's definitely a shift going on, and Dune 2 is adding on to that shift as well. Where when the first Dune came out, that was when we were in the middle of the pandemic. They were shutting down theaters. You were only allowed to have like 25% capacity, and it still managed to make 400 something million off of a very low budget film. So kudos to Villeneuve on that, and just being able to still capitalize on making that type of cash. But I wonder if they were to hold that back until like 2022, when things started to get back to normal, how well would the first Dune do if it came out in 2022? I'm so curious about that. But it seems like a lot more people are coming around to that movie and appreciating it even more after watching part 2. And I've always said that part 2 doesn't necessarily have to make $1 billion. If it just makes double of what the first one made, that's fine, because we're already going to get a Dune Messiah, and that will definitely hit $1 billion, because it's going to be a minute before we even see that movie. So it's just going to build people's anticipation for that movie over the years, and more people will come around to Dune Part 1 and 2. So I think Part 2 is just off to a very strong start, as the domestic numbers was at like 81, or like around 82 if you want to round it. And then the worldwide number is 178, so it's definitely the biggest box office draw so far of the year. And I don't see it coming down anytime soon, as far as it hitting number one next week. I don't think Imaginary is going to really be that big of a movie or be able to take that number one spot. I'd be surprised. There doesn't seem to be that much hype, but this is definitely going to be a movie that has legs. How long they're going to keep this in theaters, I would assume that they want this movie to stay in theaters until like the end of April, I would assume, or just until it hits $1 billion. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how it stacks against Ghostbusters and Godzilla vs. Kong, because those are also two juggernauts that have an established fan base, that have fans of those movies. Now, it comes down to the quality of the movie. None of those two movies can't even touch the quality of Dune 2. So Dune already has that over those two movies, but what those movies have over Dune is that those are going to just be straight up popcorn movies. They're not going to be so much focused on giving you a crazy great story. It's more going to be about the spectacle and the action. So those movies are already going to do well. You know, but my thing is, they're not going to have the same hype as a Dune 2 did, because the hype for Dune 2 was insane before it even came out. You know what I'm saying? Before it even dropped opening night, people are calling it one of the best movies of all time, one of the best sequels of all time. So it's just the good word of mouth is going to help this movie be successful. I predict, like I said, I think it's going to, you know, stop somewhere around 800, maybe max out at like 900. You know what I'm saying? If it's tracking right behind Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer is a rated R film and this is PG-13, it's more accessible, and just the word of mouth. The more and more people hear the praise of this movie, the more and more people are going to try to get into this movie just out of curiosity, to just see what the hype's about. And I'm curious to see how this is going to play. Let me know how you guys feel about that. But let's talk about the possibility of this movie getting nominated for Best Picture and winning Best Picture. And this wouldn't be the first time that Dune has gotten nominated for an Oscar. It had 10 nominations when the first one came out and won 6, none of them which were Best Picture. But just based on everything that is going on with this movie, it's definitely very possible. The bar is set very high. Now, there's going to be a lot of indie movies that come out that are going to be like those Oscar bait type of movies and stuff like that. It's going to be very interesting. You know what I'm saying? I would be shocked to not see this being nominated in multiple categories on top of being nominated for Best Picture. I'd be completely shocked if it wasn't there at all. I'd be like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? But it's very likely, just based off of people's reception to this movie. It's very very positive. It's got high scores everywhere. So anything is possible. I think it's definitely going to get nominated for visual effects. Timothée Chalamet should definitely get nominated for Best Actor for sure. Rebecca Ferguson should definitely get nominated for a Best Actress. So the list goes on. Javier Bardem, I could definitely see him getting Best Supporting Actor. Just the list goes on with Dune Part 2, which you can nominate for, and it should sweep everything. It's going to be a fantastic year overall, just because a lot of people are praising this movie and saying it's the best of the year, and it's only been 3 months. Doesn't mean that a movie that comes after it can't be your favorite. You know what I'm saying? It's film. It's subjective. Everybody is going to have their favorite movie. It's going to range from different things. It depends on the person. Dune is definitely for a specific fan base. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely for those hardcore cinephiles, people that love sci-fi. If you love sci-fi, you're going to absolutely love Dune 2. If you just love movies in general and just the art of filmmaking, Dune 2 is going to be for you. Some people don't give a fuck about the filmmaking and they just want action, explosions, comic book stuff, and just very surface level type of entertainment. And that's all good and fine. But don't let me catch you out here complaining and crying about the state of Hollywood, or they're not making good movies anymore, when here's a great movie right here. And there's plenty of dope movies that get released every single year, but people get blinded by stupidity and rage and fake outrage. Just enjoy the movies that you enjoy, you know what I'm saying? And have the discussions that you want to have discussed. Let me know how you guys feel about all this in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.